A parent reached out to me earlier today regarding the mold in Mullen and said that teachers and parents had some follow-up questions after the parent meeting. So 1 through 5 is a list of their follow-up questions that I will read out loud, but I want to get my own questions in there first as well. Why weren't the reports put online? They were promised. And what happened to the independent company that was going to come out and evaluate Mullen? They're my 2 questions. The parents and teachers questions were, we were told at the parent meeting that the more expensive air filters will be used going forward. Has this been put into place, and is there any record of it? Number 2, on November 22nd, the county made suggestions that were recommended to the district on what should be cleaned in the classrooms. If and when were these suggestions completed, and do we have any record of those suggestions? Do we have any record of those suggestions being completed? If not, why not? 3, it was mentioned at the parent meeting that the building issues are a result of poor housekeeping. What system do you have in place to make sure that the cleaning is being done properly, especially for the night crew? Number 4, on October 26th, room G15 and G16 were both tested by county, came back high for carbon dioxide levels. And then the rooms were retested again on November 10th, and the county said that the levels were safe. The report stated that the HVAC was serviced. Where is the work order report stating what service was done to the HVAC? And parents and teachers would like a copy of that report. The band room was, number 5, the band room was tested and work was done to the HVAC on that room November 17th. Where is the work order report stating what service was done on the HVAC? And they would also like that report. So I gave Mrs. Forsythe a copy of the questions. I would like the questions put into the minutes of the meeting, please, so the public can have access to them. I would also like as much of Mr. Bilodeau's answers put into the minutes of the meeting so parents can access them as well online.
Are you finished?
Yes.
10 seconds to spare.
Nice.
Number 1 and number 2, I would have to allow the facilities department to answer. I don't know those answers this evening. Number 3 is an ongoing issue, Mrs. O'Donnell. I think it is being discussed with the Board of Education. Certainly the Buildings and Grounds Committee will pick this up, and it may even leach into the Personnel Committee with regard to having adequate supervision with evening custodians. So that's kind of an in process, so I don't have an answer for number 3. The report of the HVAC service, so you would like the outside vendor who did the work, you want the work order, the request for it, or the result of that?
I would say both.
Okay, that would have
You promised at the meeting to be very transparent, so I'm pretty sure parents and teachers want everything that you have.
Okay. Well, you're the only parent that's talked about it, so...
Yeah, and I had no plans on doing this tonight.
Sure.
I was contacted.
But you're the only parent that's brought it up since that meeting. The
And we'll
band
continue.
room was tested. Yeah, so all these are really going to have to go to the facilities department. And Kathy, I would ask that you speak with Mr. Umar, kind of go through each one, and let's get a summary of answers, and let's reach out to Mrs. O'Donnell and provide them.
And then the other 2 questions that are not on that list were my questions.
The administration had reached out to me about the reports. I've told them to put them on the Mullen web page, and if that's not done, I have to look into that. And number two, the independent contractor, that is not going to proceed at this point because we have the county coming in to not just Mullen. Many of the Board of Education members felt that having a proactive review wasn't just limited to Ann Mullen, but that all of the schools should be reviewed. So the county has expanded their offerings of reviewing all the buildings. They have been doing that since the meeting that was held here. And so I appreciate the county stepping up, not just for Mullen, they've been back a few times here, but they've been into other schools, and that is working out quite well. The one gentleman that was here and spoke to the parents, his name was Pascal Nowako. He is a resident of Gloucester Township, and he has visited me recently to state that the county may not be able to continue to do the testing levels that we have asked them to do in all of our buildings. I'll remind everybody that when he was here, Camden County is the only county in the state of New Jersey that has an indoor air quality department. That is where these scientists hail from. So if, and he did indicate he would give me some advance notice, if they pull that service from us, he would kind of map out what contractors that Mrs. O'Donnell's talking about should be looking for, and instead of getting it for, not for free because we still are paying for samples that they send to the independent lab, but that would have to revert over to an independent contractor. I do know that Blackhorse Pike does have one. I have spoken to Dr. Rapisi. He indicated that the one gentleman he uses has been going to the 3 high schools and gives reports to them, and he feels comfortable with them. I'm not saying that would be the person, but if and when the county is no longer willing to do it, then we would go out to independent contractor.
I have a question. Is that over the year that they said that we had them for a year to come out? Is that what you're referring to?
Mm-hmm.
So they may cut into that year that they promised? Or you're talking about after that year?
I was of the impression that he was going to go at least to the end of this fiscal year, which would at least be June 30th. He did not give a date.
Okay.
But he did say that he doesn't know if he can, with the size of this district, continue to do that scope of work. So it may revert to an independent contractor.
Are we waiting, are we going to contact to get a date from him, or we're just going to wait until he comes back? He said he'd give you advance notice.
As long as
So
they
for right
can
now, they're
continue
still
to
testing.
give
Okay.
their resources to us at no cost, we're going to take it. If they alert us that that is no longer going to continue throughout our buildings, then we're going to have to go to another plan.
Okay.
I'd like to follow up with Mr. Bilodeau and the mold. When all the pictures came out and people were in an uproar about the mold, you promised us a rose garden. And now that things have died down, you're delivering on nothing. Your transparency isn't there, your openness isn't there, your willingness isn't there. And so I wanted to point that out to you, that that's normally how you roll.